Hello everybody and welcome back. Now today I'm going to be talking about the diesel heater that I had fitted quite a few weeks ago now. Now it's fair to say that Richard and I have had this van for 6 years and we have camped throughout the winter and we have managed perfectly well without a heater up till now. The way we've managed is good old-fashioned warm clothing, hot water bottles and Teddy, of course, and it's been perfectly fine, but probably lacks a little bit of comfort. But when we've gone to campsites and we've had electric hookup, we have plugged in quite a small oil-filled radiator, and that's kept the van really toasty. And you can leave that plugged in pretty much the whole time. It's really quiet, so it doesn't disturb your sleep. And yeah, we've had a good few sort of New Year's and sort of really cold weather camps, and that's worked really well. But there has been a lot of talk in the van life community about diesel heaters, and particularly they're called Chinese diesel heaters, which have come on the market, flooded the market in fact, and they're a lot cheaper than the traditional makes that have been quite well known. So it caught my attention really, and I've been looking at these heaters for quite a few months and looking at if I thought it was going to be worth it for us. And I think whilst we've managed well on campsites with the oil-filled radiator, in the future I am hoping to do a little bit more of what I've been doing over the summer, and that's going a little bit off grid, staying not always on campsites. And as Richard and I get a little bit older, we do like our comforts. And the fact that these diesel heaters are fairly inexpensive now, and I was thinking of, the trips that I would love to do in my wildest dreams, I have bitten the bullet and decided to get one. So in this video today, I'm going to talk a little bit about why I chose the heater I did. Now please don't think this is going to be in any way a technical video. If you've come here to look at how to fit a diesel heater, there are loads of videos on YouTube, and I'm not going to even pretend that I have any technical knowledge whatsoever. What I'm going to be talking about more is why I chose the brand I did, my experience taking the van in to have it fitted. I'm going to show you all the bits and bobs and where they go in the van. It's also worth mentioning that I've got the V6 Petrol Bongo. So a lot of people I could see on the forums were thinking that if you've got a petrol camper van, you can't have a diesel heater fitted. But you obviously can. So I'm going to talk about how I've been able to do that, where all the bits and bobs go in the van in a very non-technical way. I'm going to talk you through a little bit about the functionality of the heater I've got. Basically, it's very, very simple. It can be more complicated, and there's various timers and all sorts that I haven't really, in all truthfulness, got to grips with yet. So I'm going to show you what I've been doing, and it's basically on and off. I'm going to talk about the noise level of the heater and what I found so far. Now, as I said, I think last week, I've had it fitted for quite a few weeks now, but the weather hasn't really been cold enough to need it. So I haven't used it an awful lot, but I've used it enough to know that it works really fast and it can heat the van. So I'm going to talk about that. But obviously as I go forward over the next few weeks, and as we are able to travel a bit from next week within Wales anyway, I will be sort of updating you every week on the heater and how it's going. And I'm going to sort of look at what my thoughts are really on would I do it again? Would I have a diesel heater fitted again, knowing what I know now? Firstly, the diesel heater that I've got is an Autoterm 2 kilowatt heater. Now Autoterm used to be known as Planar heaters. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. And they are Russian made. Now, I mentioned earlier on, there are a number of brands of diesel heater, but there has been an influx of so-called Chinese heaters on the market, which are very inexpensive. And I must admit, when I first started looking at getting a heater, this is what I had in mind. Now, there are a lot of people who can fit their own heaters, and they've been picking them up on eBay, the heaters, for maybe £100, and they've been working perfectly well. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to fit this. It's something that I wouldn't be able to do. Richard probably could, but in all honesty, I need the peace of mind and I wanted it fitted. I started looking at the diesel heaters and I contacted a few sort of fitters throughout the UK, and I found them really going on the Mazda Bongo forum on Facebook. And I spoke to a number of these fitters throughout the UK, and they were able to give me lots of really, really useful information. And the consensus seemed to be there's a lot of variability with the heaters, and there are not so good ones on the market, and they don't always come with all the parts. So I started to get put off a little bit at that stage. And that was how I came to find out about Autoterm. And as I said, they're made 100% in Russia. They're made to, I can't remember which ISO standard it is, and I did quite a bit of research on the forums, and I felt quite happy that this was an established, safe product. The other thing I liked about it is the fact that it comes with, well, a 2-year warranty if you fit this yourself. But if you have it fitted through one of the companies, either themselves, they're based in Wrexham in North Wales, or one of their authorised service centres throughout the UK, you get a 3-year warranty. Now that was very, very appealing to me, the idea of a 3-year warranty, and that the warranty could be used throughout Europe. That was pretty much the decider for me. They're not as cheap as some of the Chinese heaters, but not as expensive as the Esbacha and Webasto. I looked at the main Autoterm service centre, which is in Wrexham, North Wales, and I went online, and what I liked about their service centre was that the fact that you could book online. It was really painless. You paid £99 deposit, you go through their calendar and you can select a date, and then you're booked in, and then you pay the balance on the day that it was fitted. I did contact the Autoterm in North Wales a couple of times. They were very, very responsive. I did almost all the contact on Messenger because I just wanted to check that they were able to fit it to the Petrol Bongo, and they assured me that yes, they'd fitted them to other Bongos, Petrol Bongos, and it wasn't going to be a problem. So that was great. Looking at the costs, as I said, there are Chinese diesel heaters there, very inexpensive, and then you've got the top of the range ones. This, to my mind, the Autoterm heater was somewhere in the middle. So it was a £99 deposit to get the booking, and the total price, you can buy the kit, I should mention, I think it's 500 and something for the heater and all the supplemental bits, and it can be posted to you if you want to fit it yourself. Apparently the company give a lot of technical feedback, and there is a Facebook group that I'm on as well where you can sort of fire your questions in. Clearly that wasn't going to work for me. I wanted to have it fitted. So it was £99 deposit, as I said, and I paid the balance on the day. And the balance was £750. This isn't something that you do without a great deal of thought, I think. It's quite an investment. This was the final big job, touch wood, other than repairs and servicing and any, if anything goes wrong, I won't be spending any more. This was the final job, really. So I was prepared to spend the money, and I'm hoping that I will see the benefits when we're allowed to travel. Up till now, of course, with lockdown and everything, I didn't foresee this happening again quite so soon. Did any of us? No. yeah, if things had been different, I would have been travelling and camping more now, and I probably would have used the heater more. But in any case, it's done now. Looking at what my experience was like going to Wrexham and having the heater fitted, I drove up. It's a good 3-hour journey for me, so I drove up first thing in the morning to get there for just after 9 o'clock. It was in the morning. You leave the van with them for the day and then you collect it at the end of the day. So by 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it was done. They showed me all the controls, they had it working. You also get the instruction manual, warranty, and any queries you can just ring them or message them or get in touch on their Facebook help group as well. So I'm going to show you around various parts of the heater and where they go in our Bongo, which is a petrol. And first of all, the actual heater itself has been placed in the engine compartment. And if you're not too sure how you get to the engine, then we have done a little video showing how you do that, mainly for checking oil is the reason we go in there. So I shall put a link in the description. Now, because I've got the petrol Bongo, I've needed a separate tank for the diesel to fuel the heater. And this is where it's been placed under the bonnet. And it's really quite easy to fill this just from a normal forecourt. I spent £2, well, just over £2 filling mine up from almost empty. I'm not entirely sure how long it's going to last, though. I'll have to keep you posted on that. If you have a diesel vehicle, then you can get the fuel line taken directly from the diesel tank on your van. Now I have been to refill the diesel tank, and I just did that at a forecourt, and it's because of the lack of space under my bonnet, the tank I've got, I think it's either a 2 or a 3 litre. I haven't actually emptied it as yet, so I can't tell you how long that's going to last. It's going to depend obviously how long you have to have the heater on, how much fuel it uses. This is, I've taken the panel off just by the step at the side of the Bongo. So the little black pipe in here that you can see is the duct where the heated air comes from, and then it leads to this little outlet. Okay, we've just realised that you can adjust the vent here to move the air up or down?
Or sideways.
Or sideways.
Up better, isn't it? Yeah.
Up is good because then it goes directly into the van. And then underneath the van, this little metal pipe you can see is the exhaust. There is this air inlet just below the passenger seat here. And that takes the air in to be heated from inside the cab, so it uses a bit less energy than taking it directly from outside, I believe. It's 10 o'clock in the morning and I've come out to the van because last night was pretty cold and the frost has started to melt now, but you can see a bit of condensation on the window. And I just wanted to show you the temperature in here is 1 degree. Showing on my carbon monoxide alarm. 10 a.m. I'm going to put the heater on now and we'll see how long it takes for the temperature to come up. So the control panel is just beside the console and I'm going to switch the heating on now. There are a few ways, as I said, you can have a timer, and this is the way I do it because it's easy. So you press any button apart from the square one just to light up the screen. So it's coming on at 8 minutes past 10 on Wednesday. And then press the square button and it goes into its startup mode. So you can hear the fan going. And I've set a target temperature of 20. It's registering a temperature inside at 0 degrees. So I switched the heating on a minute ago and it's just starting to send air through the vent in the step. It's cold air at the moment, but you can probably hear the fan starting to kick in. This is the control panel, which is beside the console, as you can see. I left that to the fitters, they put it there. I think it's best, from what I've heard, to put it a little bit out the way so you don't accidentally knock it on or off. But yeah, seek advice if you're going to get one of these fitted, and have a think about if you want the control panel somewhere else. This one for me is a bit out of the way, but I can still operate it from inside the van if I just flip this seat forward a little bit, because what I've been doing so far really is just, as I showed you, switching the panel on and then the on switch, and then adjusting the temperature if needed. So the heater has been on a couple of minutes, and if I put my hand down here now, I can feel warm air coming out. A couple of minutes it's been on, and it's already becoming more pleasant in here. I absolutely love winter days like this, when the sky's blue, it's been really cold, but the sun is out. So already I'm thinking with this heater I can really enjoy these types of days. Go for a lovely walk and come back to the van, and within a very short space of time have the heater on and toasty inside. Dry off damp clothes. And actually, I haven't looked at this, but possibly leaving the heater on. I know some people say that they have these diesel heaters and they leave it on for the entire weekend, and then the thermostat just ticks over, so that might be an option. So it's 10:30 now, and it's feeling warm in here. My temperature gauge says 9 degrees. I must admit it feels warmer than that. Also, it's about £100 extra, I think. You can add a smartphone modem so that you can operate the heating from in your house, for example, or from when you're away from your van. I didn't go for that because I didn't think I'd be using it. I think I'll mostly use the heating controls when I'm in the van, so it wasn't something I thought I needed. But you can go on the website and have a look if you think that would be of use to you. So for the sake of speed, I adjusted the thermostat down to 7 degrees, just so that I could sort of show you when the thermostat cuts in. So the thermostat is in the front of the van, and I think it's a bit cooler down there because where I'm sitting now, my carbon monoxide alarm is registering 10 degrees. Now to me it feels warmer than 10 degrees. It's really balmy in here now, and it is 10:30, so the heating's been on about half an hour, and temperature's lovely in here now. Fan has gone a little bit quieter, and yeah, it's toasty. As you can see, I reduced the target temperature down to 7, and the controller is registering the temperature is 7 degrees down here. Things have gone a lot quieter now. As I said, it does feel warmer than 7. But anyway, I'm going to switch it off now. So all you do for that is press the middle button once, and then it goes into its shutdown mode. The fan does get a little bit noisier at this stage during the shutdown mode, and the fan stays on for a couple of minutes before switching off. There you go, so it's a bit warmer up towards the roof space because it's registering 12 degrees up here, and I don't think I'd want it very much warmer than this. This would be a perfect temperature for me. And if I was staying in the van now, I think I would adjust the thermostat to stay at, well, 7 degrees, because this feels about right for me. Yeah, top tip, I did forget to mention, I bought myself a carbon monoxide alarm. Should have had this before, because we've got a gas cooker in here. But extra safety, I bought it on Amazon. And while I was at it, I bought a fire blanket as well, because I'm conscious that we haven't had any fire equipment in the van. So the fire blanket was only about £6, so they're so cheap and quite neat to just stick up on the top shelf there. I feel really happy to have the heater here. It feels like the van is now complete for me, and I'm just looking forward to being able to use it to its full capacity now shortly, even if it is just for the day. And would I have the diesel heater fitted again? At this point in time, it's really difficult to say because I don't feel I've used it enough. When I have used it, it's been super efficient and has heated the van very, very quickly. It's really quiet. I was expecting it to be a lot more noisy than it is. It's quite noisy when you first switch it on. It's like a fan heater, but once it gets to the temperature, it does start sort of getting quieter, and then it just sort of ticks over. I've been told it's better to just leave it on and set your thermostat so it just ticks over, rather than having it on, letting it go cold, switching it on again. I think it'll be more economical once I'm in the van to just keep it on. That's what I'm planning to use. But as I said, it hasn't really had a road test for that use as yet. But going forward, I will keep you updated on how it's going. Would I recommend anybody else to get the diesel heater? I would say think about if you're really going to need it. If you're happy to go, or you don't really do much camping in the winter, then I wouldn't have thought there'd be much point at all. But if you are thinking about it, it might be that just using a campsite with electric hookup and either a fan heater or an oil-filled radiator, if that's all you're ever going to do in the winter, then you might find that that's all you need. But if you are, like me, thinking a bit more about trying to go off-grid, hoping to have some nice long adventures across the UK, Scotland, Ireland, even Europe, then comes into its own a little bit more as well there, I think. So I'm going to leave you for this week. Let me know if you've got any non-technical questions in the comments below. Please consider subscribing. As I said, I am trying to build up the numbers, but I will keep you updated every week on the heater. But have a good week, everybody. Stay safe, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.